It's amazing how much a title can transform your scrapbook page. So what I've done is I have a very basic layout here, okay? This is just a sheet of gray cardstock, 2 photos, and you'll notice that this is a very large photo. It's 12 inches wide, and that can be printed out at home on a large format printer, or you can send it out to a lot of online places that'll send you back a really big photo, okay? Then a regular 4x6 and some journaling, which I did on a typewriter. You could also do a computer, whatever you want, but this is a very, very basic setup. We're going to transform it with 3 different title ideas. So let's start with our first one. Now everybody has letter stickers, and of course gold glitter letter stickers are even better. And I'm going to show you my favorite tip for lining up your letter stickers perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab a letter here, and then I have a grid ruler. And what I'm going to do with my grid ruler is I'm going to use the lines on the ruler, and notice that I place the letter right on the line, right on this line there, okay? So then I'm going to take the next letter, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing. This also allows me to space the letters exactly how I want them spaced. And then why don't we spell the word cab? We are talking on a layout about New York after all, and you always can hail a taxi cab. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab that right there. And by the way, did you notice that instead of opening my letter stickers from the bottom, I actually cut the side open, and that I find just allows you to really access your letter stickers so much more easily without having to ever take them out of the package. So now you can see I have this here, and I just have a little sheet of clear acetate here, but you could do this directly on your cardstock. And now with the adhesive part, I push down on that, I quickly remove my plastic grid ruler, push down the bottom part, and now I have them perfectly aligned, which is exactly what I've done right here with the New York that you can see there, all glittery, just like New York is. So now what I'm going to do is let me show you how to just arrange this. Now you can play with the design of this on your layout however you want. I definitely felt like New York required a heart, and then I simply I wanted to bookend this, so I just took some black pattern paper strips and I put them right out on here so that it would look a little bit cool. And now you can decide, where do you want to put it? Maybe right here under the photo, keep that all together just like this. You can play with whether you want the heart here, do you want the heart here? But again, you can see the layout has come together and it's a very particular kind of look. But we can completely change it up with our next design. So let me just clean this right off so we have a blank slate. And now I'm going to show you how to make a really cool title out of felt. This is just simple craft store felt that you can buy anywhere, nothing fancy. And I have a pair of scissors. Now the only thing about your scissors is they need to be sharp enough to cut felt. So I do have a dedicated pair of scissors for fabric because paper actually dulls scissors. So that's just an easy tip. Now you notice I've cut a strip. I did not measure. I don't worry about it being straight. I'm not at all concerned about that. And then I'm going to cut 3 pieces that are relatively even because I'm going to do my NYC. And again, I'm not measuring, I'm just kind of eyeballing that they're relatively even. Now, if I cut these 3 pieces of felt even, it will mean that my letters are going to be relatively even. So now to cut out my N, I'm just thinking about what parts I need to remove to cut that out. So I'm going to cut that part out, I'm going to cut this part out, and if it's wonky and handmade, that's perfect. That's just what I want. So there's my N, let's make it a Y. And then you'll see just how easy this is. Now, of course, once you cut your letters out of felt, that's fine. That could be enough. You don't have to do any more than that. You can just do it, okay? Just your letters out. But I always like to take it up a notch. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use some embroidery floss. And people always wonder how much floss you should use. And I think it's easier to control if you have a shorter piece of floss. Now I wanna show you my no-fail method for threading. So first of all, I'm using a needle that has a big enough eye. That's really important. The second thing is I'm gonna actually place the thread into my fingers so that you can barely see it, and then I'm going to push the needle onto the thread, and boom, it comes through first time every single time. So that's a good way to think about it. I don't tie a knot or anything. And then even if you can't sew, I'm going to do a basic running stitch. That means up, down, up, down. Simple as that. And then I leave a little bit of a tail at the back end. If I flip this over, you can see that. And then I'm just going to continue around my lovely letter, just going up and down, up and down, up and down. Really not hard to do at all. And once I reach the other side, let me pull up my end that's already done because I want to show you the back side. Can you see that I put a little knot in here just where the two pieces of embroidery floss met, the beginning and the end. And then to super secure it, I used a wet adhesive. And here's a great tip that I got from a wonderful crafter named Jennifer McGuire. This is not the original cap for this glue, but a lot of times these little bottles get clogged. If you use, this is just a fine line applicator cap that you can buy at any art supply store. It makes sure that your glue is always wet and ready to use, even if it's in this tiny little bottle. And you just put the needle right inside, and that's what keeps the tip open. So these are all set, and now if we look at it on the layout, I think you'll see it's a really, really different look from the glitter. And I also did some cute little triangles that just keep your eye going, and now this layout has a totally different feel. And I want to show you my third look, which I think is really awesome. So let me just clean this right off. I love paint. Now, when you're painting words or anything like that, I think it's important to use a fluid acrylic, meaning something that is not too thick. It just helps you. And a small brush and a lot of water. And I'm just painting right onto regular cardstock, okay? And now, is there anything fancy about this? No, I'm holding my paintbrush and I'm using my absolutely regular handwriting, nothing special, and I'm skipping and I'm jumping, and if you don't like something, go back and deal with it, and I'm just going ahead and finish that up. And even if I don't fit it all in, it doesn't matter because we're on a separate piece of paper. You can start it again and try it smaller, tilt the paper, do a different font. And then I also like to do some quick little drawn embellishments, which are super fun and easy to do. They just add a whimsical feel to absolutely anything that you do, just like that. Now, here's another fun thing, which is you can now cut these out. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my scissors and go right around that outline. And I like to leave a margin so that I don't have to be a particularly good cutter. I just sort of bump it out, and sometimes I'll crunch out a whole area. That makes it a little bit easier when you're hand cutting. And I'm just gonna go around there, cruising around, taking my time, not worrying too much about it, okay? And once it's cut out, I should have some pieces that look like these ones right here, okay? Now, if we take them over to the layout like this, you can see that I can play around, maybe place that embellishment right under there. I think this is nice because, again, you'll notice with all the different ones that I did, I like to have this grouping of threes, something that brings your eye from the title to the journaling and around the whole page. So whether I'm doing something with black and white paint like this, or something that's reminiscent of taxi cabs and New York City streets, or something that has a little glitter and flash, also fine for New York City. A title adds so much to your page. So don't start with your first idea. Really go further and look for something even more special.